presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Phillies.
Spring training baseball on Fox Sports Southeast is presented by Landmark Automotive Group. Bright sunny skies greet us in Orlando. That makes everybody a little bit chipper today as the Braves face their division rivals, the New York Mets, here at Champion Stadium at Lake Buena Vista, Florida. My friends, Chip and Joe, great to be back with you over this Easter holiday weekend. First two ball games we've seen, Joe. Excellent starting pitching, Matt Whistler and Julio Teheran. But now the concern starts for the Braves. Spots 3, 4, and 5 haven't been nearly as effective, and still with a week to go in spring training, a few big questions to be answered.
Yeah, there are some openings there for somebody that's willing to step forward, Chip. And after today's game, there are 7 games left. So that means there are limited opportunities for these guys to show what they've got. Now, Matt Whistler and Julio Teheran, as you said, have pitched very well. And Mike Foltynewicz has really grabbed everybody's attention with his 2 outings. But he's still a ways away in terms of being ready for the regular season. Bud Norris goes today. He has had an awful spring. And in his defense, there have been a couple of starts where he's had some shaky defense behind him. Hopefully today, a little better outing for him is in store.
Jacob deGrom gets the ball for the New York Mets. We'll check on his velocity and see how the Metropolitans are faring. We'll get you set for the Braves and the Mets. First pitch and more on a beautiful day for baseball in Orlando next. Sunshine State. I was a little worried about some false advertising the last couple of days for our friends from Georgia.
It is a beautiful day today, and the place is packed, so let's hope the rain stay away for the first time in a few.
We expect to have a busy broadcast for you today. We'll talk with John Campolella, the Braves general manager. He'll join us here in the booth to give us his state of the ball club with about a week to go in spring training. We'll talk with Freddie Freeman when he gets out of the game. Jason Grilli pitched here yesterday. We'll talk to him. And boy, was Julio Teheran brilliant in his start for Atlanta yesterday. So we'll talk to Julio about that as he looks to be ready for what should be the opening day start for Atlanta. Here come the Mets. Didn't bring a lot of regulars here, but the defending National League champions do have Juan Lagares leading off in center. Travis d'Arnaud hit third for them. Wilmer Flores, their second baseman. We'll get a look at Jacob deGrom, who's had a terrific spring for New York. And as Joe said a moment ago, this is an important start for Bud Norris today.
Now, Bud Norris is 31 years old, 6 feet 215. A couple of years ago, he won 15 games for the Baltimore Orioles. Last year, he had a case of bronchitis that really waylaid him, put him on the disabled list, weakened him. He had a rough year between Baltimore and San Diego, and he's had a rough spring, but hoping for better things today as the opportunities again continue to wind down for these starters.
First man up for New York is their center fielder Juan Lagares. He's hit a homer this spring. Former Gold Glove winner for New York. Morris missed with his first, and we're underway. Hot, muggy day. Wind is blowing in today. Very cloudy skies this morning. We're told much of the bad weather, if there is any in the Central Florida area, will stay north of the ballpark. It's off the plate. Quickly, ball 2 to Lagares. Braves had a split squad rainout yesterday against the Tigers over in Lakeland, and here against the Astros. There's the first strike of the day. 2-1 the count. So you might see the regulars play a little longer than you normally would, only because the Braves have combined to play about 13 innings over the last day and a half.
Yeah, and then this looks like the opening day lineup right here.
He popped into right. That should be playable for Nick Markakis near the line. He's there, and he puts that away for out number 1. That's exactly, Joe, what Freddie Gonzalez was talking about before the game. About a week to go in spring training. You might see his thought process as he fills out his lineup card.
Yeah, the closer you get to the end of spring training, the more games you want to see your regulars get, 3 or even 4 at bats. There might be some guys who want to stay in for 9 innings just to get an extra at bat or 2. Bud Norris, low 90s fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. Originally with the Houston organization.
This is Patrick Biondi, and he hits the first pitch to Freddie Freeman, who corralled that. Hard hit ball, and Biondi's out number 2.
Freddie got something on it, enough to knock it down. I don't know if it was glove or leg.
So a fly on the ground out for Norris to start the game. That'll bring up Travis d'Arnaud. The Met catcher had an injury-plagued year last year. One of those injuries suffered on a collision at the plate with A.J. Przinsky. Wrecked his elbow. Cost him a lot of time. He played just 67 games for the Mets.
Already a good start for Bud Norris. His first inning have been problematic in each of his previous 4 starts.
Two quick strikes. Norris, an 8.53 ERA this spring. High hopper left side. Ivar. Long throw. It's short. And d'Arnaud is the third out of the inning. 3 up, 3 down.
d'Arnaud thought he'd test the new shortstop.
Yeah.
He's not having luck with Simmons.
He didn't have luck with Ivar either. Good start for Norris. Mets out in order in the top of the first. Here's our first look at the Braves offense today. As Joe mentioned a moment ago, this might be Freddie Gonzalez's opening day lineup when we face the Nationals on April 4th. Inciarte, Ibar, Freeman, Garcia sandwiched in between the left-handed hitters Freeman and Markakis. Victor Olivera hit a home run yesterday, although it was washed out over in Lakeland. AJ behind the plate, Jace Peterson, Bud Norris, and a tough hombre, Jacob deGrom, going for New York.
Well, what a great year he had last year. 14-8, a 2.54 ERA, which was fourth best in the National League. Having a good spring, too. Only one run allowed in 10 innings. And in that playoff run for the Mets last year, he won 3 road playoff games. Throws hard.
And that's been a bit of a concern for deGrom, we're told. His first fastball today at 92. They say his velocity is down from last year. As Inciarte leads things off.
Well, for the ability he has shown over the last couple of years, including Rookie of the Year, I would say that would be cause for concern if all of a sudden he's off by 3 or 4 miles an hour.
Slow roller out to second. That'll be easy, and Inciarte is retired. Flores at second base for New York, and here's the terrific spring numbers for the shaggy-haired right-hander for the Mets.
Just 1 walk and 10 strikeouts, too, in those 10 innings. Their rotation as good as it gets anywhere in baseball, top to bottom.
And Harvey is going to be their opening day starter when they begin the season, April 3rd, against the Royals in Kansas City. How about that twist of fate? The two teams that met in the World Series last year meet in the first 2 games of regular season play the following season.
Well, it's a squirrely start to their season, too. They play Sunday, they're off Monday. Play Tuesday, they're off Wednesday and Thursday. It's like somebody flipped a coin.
Fouled away by Ibar. No balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, how do you manage your rotation with that kind of schedule in the first week? One ball, 2 strikes. Short. Ibar out by a step. Reynolds makes the play. 2 out. And here's Freddie Freeman. He made the point yesterday in our game with the Astros. The luxury the Braves have now, they can really manipulate their lineup with guys hitting behind Freeman. It could be Markakis, it could be Olivera, it could be Garcia, depending on matchups.
A little more protection this year, I think. Plus, he's feeling good. That was 88. That was a cutter that he'll work in with his fastball. He's got a 2-seamer. He'll run away from lefties, too. Right there.
88. Best fastball of the day. He was a little late. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Freeman's down on strikes. deGrom works a perfect first.
Baseball is sponsored by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. And the Yellowwood brand pressure-treated pine.
We move to the second inning where Wilmer Flores will lead off for the Mets. Eric Campbell, Mark Krause will follow him. Flores very quickly became a sentimental favorite of the Mets fans last year. Nearly traded, wasn't. It turned out to be a terrific non-trade for the Mets. As Flores did an excellent job for them last year. Played 96 games at shortstop, 30 games at second base.
It's pretty nice when you have a guy on your bench that hit 16 homers and drove in 59 in limited playing time. Big guy too, 6'3", and he can play second, short, third.
That's pulled foul right by the Mets dugout. A ball and 2 strikes. I'm guessing he'll be their super utility guy for the Mets this year.
That would be my guess after they sign Asdrubal Cabrera, who will be their shortstop.
And they traded for Neil Walker, the former Pirates second baseman. Walker will be the everyday guy. Second.
They never know how many games they're going to get out of David Wright. They're going to try to really guard against overusing David because of his bad back. So it could be that Flores gets some action, more action at third base this year too.
Yeah, David played just 38 games last year with spinal stenosis, and only a handful of games so far this spring for New York. Full count pitch for Flores. And he struck him out looking inside corner. First strikeout for Bud.
Good breaking ball on 3-2. Froze him.
This is Eric Campbell, another guy that could see some time for the Mets at first base, at third base, perhaps in the outfield. Seen Eric a lot in the matchups with the Braves.
Spent some time up and down between big leagues and AAA. But the Mets, the Mets went to the whip late in the season to win the division by 7 games when the Nationals just fell apart. But for the season, the Mets, I'll say, only won 90 games. And for a ball club that swept the Cubs in the NLCS, got to the World Series, gave the Royals all they wanted, 90 wins. They were that close to winning a world championship and didn't have to win 100.
Remember how we talked all the time about the Braves at one point were 42-42 last year?
Right. On
July 2nd, the Mets were 40-40.
Is that right?
Went 50-32 the rest of the way, and the main problem was, as we know, offense. They could not score runs. Well, they added Uribe, they added Kelly Johnson, they got Cespedes. And all of a sudden, the Mets took off. One ball, 2 strikes for Eric Campbell. That's hit right at Inciarte in center, and he's got it. Here's out number 2. Stay tuned. Jason Grilly's getting set to join us for an in-dugout interview. Jason vowed he'll be ready to go opening day. We'll ask him how he feels his spring has gone so far and where he feels coming back from his Achilles surgery. So we'll look forward to that. As Mark Krause digs in, he's the first baseman today. I think it's safe to say the right side of the Braves bullpen is pretty much settled. It's the other side that's causing some sleepless nights right now. Check swing, foul ball.
Yeah, the Braves are having trouble settling on, if that's the right word, or finding a left-handed reliever that Freddie would be comfortable with. He's even talked like he might have to start the season without a lefty, and in this division, that's not great. Good pitch.
AJ framed it, didn't get the call. 2-1. Little pop. High bar out. Says he's got it, and he does. 6 up, 6 down for Norris. Adonis Garcia leads off for the Braves, and we'll hear from Jason Grilli next.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Season-ending injury. Sustained an Achilles injury.
Showed you this video the other night. Jason Grilli making his comeback from Achilles tendon surgery.
Guy, this is my best therapist. So here's the
Lightsaber working. He's got the cannonball working. And he's not a distracted driver. There he is, Jason Grilli.
That's dangerous right there.
That was dangerous. First question, how you feeling?
It's great. I feel great, man. It's awesome to be back out there. You know, obviously that's the fun side, trying to get to the rehab. You know, you got to have a little bit of fun because nobody's there applauding you. So I made my therapist laugh quite a bit. I brought the clubhouse humor to Melissa Brown therapy. A lot of people thought I was crazy, but made the atmosphere fun, you know.
There's nothing like the fruits of all your rehab labor than getting out on the mound and throwing. I know you were doing a lot of work just to get your arm ready for those opportunities. Is your arm feeling good too?
That's about the best part of me at this point. I've been through the meat grinder with all these injuries, but yeah, no, I feel good. Just trying to iron out some timing issues. That's comes with more repetitions, but yeah, I feel great. I feel great.
It was coming out of your hand nicely yesterday, throwing hard.
Yeah, I was trying to hustle with that storm coming over top, too, so that was another timing issue I had to work through.
I was going to ask you, must feel great when you're on the field and the PA guy says, well, we need the fans to take cover while you guys just stay out in the middle of the field.
Just stay out here. You're subject to some lightning strikes here in Central Florida, but we made it through.
Nothing to for Garcia. That just missed outside. Did you have to have a hello, my name is sticker when you walked into the clubhouse this year? Because another offseason with a lot of new faces here.
Yeah, I know. We needed those shirts back, didn't we?
Yeah.
But no, it's good. Seems like the atmosphere here is pretty good. And, yet again, we got some new faces. But in due time, we'll gel as a team as we have to during the season.
About a week to go, Jason. How many outings do you expect to get between now and opening day?
Probably 2 to 3 more. I mean, we don't have much time left, but You know, like I said, it's just getting ahead of guys, getting the timing down, and I'm not too far off, you know. The only thing that's off is I'm looking at DeGrom's hair. I'm kind of missing mine, I guess.
Yeah, what's the story with that? We noticed that when you came into pitch yesterday.
I just wanted a fresh start, you know. The hair thing just kind of happened after my knee surgery, so maybe I got to reset and get another 5 years out of this body.
There you go.
Until they start doing full body transplants, I got to do with what I got, the one I have.
Now, you're not going to go with the Mike Fultonevich hairdo, are you?
No, it's an interesting one, but you know, he wears it well. I guess if anybody's going to do it, he's got kind of that Brian Bosworth look. He can pull it off.
Nick Markakis in the box quickly. 2 strikes to the Braves right fielder.
It's good to see him come back too. I mean, he had some stuff going on, and to see how he's bouncing back, it's a positive thing for us.
Yeah, you can. It's a noticeable difference in his physique. He's stronger, ready to go.
It's definitely easier to play this game when you're not hurt.
Second strikeout for DeGrom. Markakis is retired. And here is Hector Olivera.
Jason, you guys have got a lot of veterans on this ball club, especially among the position players. And, you know, there's a lot of pundits out there that are not picking the Braves to do much. How is that received by all you guys who have been around the game a while?
I think it's the same as last year and every year before it. You know, there's all these preseason predictions, and you got to play 162 to find out who's going to be out in front and get that playoff door kicked open. You know, last year the Nationals were supposed to win it all, but I don't think they were there. So it just goes to tell you that, you know, there's a lot that can happen in between. Baseball's a streaky thing. You got to keep guys healthy. You know, you want to try to create that atmosphere of you know, practice winning right now, with this last week and a half to go, so that when you walk in the clubhouse doors, you bust them open and you go out, and that's what you're expected to do, is win and win as much as possible. But you know, you break the season down 60 and 60, and those other 42 games is kind of the difference maker between, you know, whether you get into the playoffs or not. So that begins a whole new season. But you know, to be cliche, it's like one day at a time, right? You've heard that how many times? One day at a time, one game at a time, and I think we're better equipped this year all around.
That's good to hear. I think so too.
Full count for Hector Olivera, who's had a terrific spring at the plate. 400 average, 8 RBIs. His home run was washed away because it was not an official game over in Detroit. It was his first homer of the spring unofficially. And it popped out of play foul. Jason, quickly, we know about the present for this ball club. What's your impression of what could be the future of the Braves ball club? You've been around all the young kids that were in that locker room. What were your thoughts on those guys?
You know, I have to say, honestly, for all these highly touted prospects and guys that were first-round picks and the first pick, they handled themselves very professionally, went about their business, and like I said, I think the future is very bright. I think they did a good job of bringing in the good young crop, and it starts there. You know, you never know who's going to really develop into this superstar, but there's definitely a boatload of talent, and hopefully that continues to keep the pace here and win those pennants back like they are up in Turner Field.
Well, Jason, it's great seeing you back on the mound, pal. We'll look forward to seeing you in Atlanta.
Same here, man.
Continued success down the stretch here in Orlando, and we are going to be joined by Julio Teheran in a scoreless game, worth for 2 at Disney. Well, this was the highlight of yesterday's play in Orlando against the Astros. Julio Teheran got the ball for the Braves, and boy, oh boy, did he look good. Everything Joe was working.
All his pitches, good velocity, up to around 94 with his fastball, spotting his breaking pitch and his changeup. Julio, I would say that looked like you were ready to start the season.
I feel ready. I feel that that I got everything working out, and I can't wait till the season start.
Travis Tyrone is going to lead things off for the Mets. Julio, what did you take out of last season? Obviously, you had a terrific finish to the year. There were some rough spots in the middle of the season. What did you learn about yourself as a major league pitcher in the 2015 year?
Well, just trying to take the good things that I did last year. I know that was rough at the beginning of the year, but trying to take that out of my mind and just take the good things that I did, that I was at the second half, and that's the things that I wanna bring for this year.
We've seen some video, Julio, of you working out in the off season. It looked like you were doing a lot of leg work too, running, dragging a sled, that sort of thing. Was that something you focused on in the winter? Was more lower body work?
Yeah, that's the most important thing for a pitcher, just to get the legs being stronger, and that's what I was focused for this year. And even throwing, I was focused on mechanically too, and trying to work on the stuff that I was working at the end of last year, and everything is working together now.
And what do you expect? One more start?
Yes, hopefully one more start.
Okay.
This is Matt Reynolds with one out, but Norris set down the first 7 Mets in order today. And another strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Julio, you've been in the big leagues a while, but did you ever imagine at this point in your baseball career you would be considered the veteran on the Braves pitching staff? And you've been here the longest.
No, I never thought that. My 4th year I'm going to consider like the veteran of the team, but that's a good thing, and trying to get trying to do the same thing that I've been doing. I don't want to put that on my mind and trying to do too much, trying to be the same guy.
Reynolds with a double to right. He'll be at second base for Jacob deGrom.
And it looks like you'll get the opening day nod, and that would be what, the 3rd straight year?
Yes.
That's quite
we don't know yet, but hopefully to get it's going to be my 3rd year, and it's
quite an honor.
It is a great honor, but this year it's going to be different. It's going to be at home. I'm excited about that. My other 2 was on the road, so this year it's going to be different.
Let's see what deGrom does. Right-handed pitcher, left-hand hitter, right arm protected, of course. Almost missed outside, ball 1.
deGrom's a good hitter too. He was a shortstop in college at Stetson and swings it pretty good.
So Julio, with one more start of the spring, are you already starting to think about the Nationals? Does that happen yet, or is that still a little too early?
Well, yeah, I'm start thinking in the season. I know I got another start, but just trying to do what I've been doing my last 2 starts. I feel like a regular season form, like a middle season, and everything is working. And I'm excited to get in the season and continue doing what I've been doing this spring.
1 ball, 1 strike for deGrom. That's fouled away the plate. I'm sure you're already thinking about your game plan. More importantly, are you thinking about the cologne you're going to wear to the ballpark? Because I understand it's a different scent every day for Julio Teheran. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I've been thinking of what I'm going to wear that day, or how I want to smell for every game, every single game, and that's part of the game plan.
Bouncing ball, foul at first.
I said yesterday, to pitch good, you have to smell good, right?
Yeah, you got to feel good. You got to feel good, and whenever you feel good, you're going to do good things.
There you go.
Now, if you pitch well, do you change it up for your next start, or do you go with the same thing each time? Because pitchers are very superstitious people, right?
Yeah, that depends how I pitch. That's why I wear every year, every start. If I pitch good with one, that's the one I'm gonna keep the whole year.
You bet.
1 ball, 2 strikes for DeGrom. Just missed. Do you have something picked out? Do you have a go-to?
No, I'm gonna try one for the season, but am I gonna keep the one I'm wearing this spring? That
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Two and two for Jacob DeGrom. We're chatting with Julio Teheran. Pop fly toward left. Oliveira near the fence. Will handle him. DeGrom putting up a fight here.
I have a recommendation. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one, Julio, but it's one Chip employs quite often in the booth. It's called high karate.
High karate?
Yeah. He wears a lot of high karate, and it's hard to find these days.
Yeah, I never heard that one before.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's real rare.
I got to use a lot of it too. Well, Julio, we're thrilled for you. We're really excited to see you pitch as well as you did yesterday as Norris gets DeGrom looking. Mets fans below us didn't like that call. He was out.
Got a few Mets fans right below us.
Yeah.
It's a good backdoor pitch.
So
What'd you feel best about yesterday? You know, you had a good fastball, but your location was great. Was there any one pitch that you were really happy with?
Yeah, my changeup. I think the difference is I'm using more my changeup, and even for righties that I haven't used it before with the Brian Wright changes. That's something that I'm using more this year, and I think that's the difference. And using more my fastball pitch inside to righty and lefty. That's been the difference too for.
Good. I know Matt Whistler also working on his changeup, especially to left-handers. So that's good. Good to hear.
No balls and a strike. Well, Julio, it's been a long inning. We appreciate you spending some time with us. Good luck in your next start down here in the spring, and we can't wait to see you take the ball against the Nationals back home.
All right, thank you, guys.
Right. Smell good, Julio. Smell good.
Yeah.
And pitch good too.
Yeah.
All right, I will try.
Julio Teheran.
Thanks, Julio.
Yeah, it's hard to believe he'll make his 3rd straight opening day start. He's now the grizzled veteran among the starting rotation for the Braves. Pop fly foul out of play. And count 1-2. So you've heard from Jason Grilli. You've heard from Julio Teheran. John Coppolella is standing by. He's in our broadcast booth bullpen. He's going to join us here in the booth when the Braves come up to hit here in the 3rd. A little worried about Coppy. He hasn't made a deal in about 2 weeks. So ask him about that. As AJ and Norris want to get together as Lagares is behind the count 1-2.
Just trying to make sure they don't make a mistake here with a runner in scoring position. Kind of a in-season type approach, trying to save a run. Speaking of guys off the bench, Terry Collins, how about having this guy who's a Gold Glove winner available as your quote-unquote fourth outfielder?
Well, they figured to have Conforto, Cespedes, and Granderson in the outfield. Lagares, the extra guy, got jammed and he popped it into straightaway center, and Norris is out of trouble in the 3rd inning. He's pitching well. He struck out 3. He's allowed only 1 hit. We'll hear from John Coppolella when we come back. Time for the bottom of the third inning. Joe Simpson, Chip Carey, and Braves GM John Coppolella joins us for the first time this spring. Coppy, here we go. We're rapidly approaching opening day.
Yeah, we're very close. We're about a week out right now. It's been a good spring. A lot of good things from our young players, and we've seen some things we really wanted to see. So it's been a lot of fun.
Starting rotation situation. Got some people to pick from, and it seems, I don't want to say unsettled, but it's like another name has jumped in there to throw his name in the hat after the good work of John Gant yesterday. Were you over in Lakeland to see that?
Yes, he was really good. He threw 4 innings against their A lineup. I don't think they hit the ball out of the infield. I mean, he struck out 5 guys, did have the 3 walks, but I mean, he was really good, and he's been a great guy for us the whole spring. I mean, he's pitched really well, and, he's in that mix now, I think. So, I think with the first top 3 spots are pretty settled. Tehran, Morris, Whistler. And then 4 and 5 we're still trying to figure it out. We've seen good things from a lot of players.
There's the Gold Glove defense Joe was talking about. Lagares made a terrific running catch to rob Jace Peterson of a blue pit. 2 outs very quickly, and Norris will get a chance to hit here.
And not just that, but I got a chance to see Mike Fultonevich pitch a little bit over at Kissimmee the other day, and I know that he's been really opening everybody's eyes about how far along he already is.
Yeah, he was really good. He was 95-99 in that first inning. He may have been a little bit amped up just because he was kind of at his old home, but he did a great job, 3 2/3. He's somebody that we think has a chance to be a future #1 type starter. We just need to be a little bit careful with him as far as, we don't know if he's going to be ready once we break the season. He didn't have much of an off season following that surgery, so we don't want to rush. I think this guy's going to be a Brave for a long time, and we don't want to end up in a spot where we try to rush him back to game.
Lagares handles that line drive. Copy, we had a quick inning. Can you stick around for another half inning with us?
Sure.
That'd be great. John Coppolella will stay with us when we head to the 4th inning. No score. Norris and DeGrom scoreless through 3. Joe, Chip, and John Coppolella back with you in Orlando. Copy, between breaks, you were talking about some other things that you're excited about with the ball club. Let's start with the man playing left field now, Hector Olivera.
Yeah, he's been great. He's hitting .400 this spring. Actually had a home run yesterday to left center field in the wind, and since that game got rained out, it wouldn't be on his spring training stat line. But he's played a lot. I think he leads all spring training in hits. He has done all that we hoped that he would do. Now we just need to see how it goes during the season.
And he's done okay defensively, too. I mean, we're not here to tell you he's a Gold Glover, but for a man his age and his baseball experience to make this transition at this level says a lot about him as a baseball player, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's been fine. He's worked really hard at it, and he's played pretty much every game, and he's done all that we've asked. He, started playing it in winter ball, and he's really done a great job, worked hard, and it's paid off for him.
Joe touched on the starting rotation. Oliveira, obviously. How do you like your bullpen and the way it stacks up? Obviously, with the injury to Grilly last year, the trades of Jim Johnson and Luis Avila, your bullpen was short in the second half of the year. Do you feel like you've shored that up enough at the start of the season?
Yeah, we feel like we have a lot more depth. That being said, we always want to keep trying to find ways to add. We just sent out Ian Kroll. I think we're a little bit short left-handed right now. I think we're fine from the right side, lining up Viz, Grilly, Jim Johnson, guys like who are still in the mix. We've also got Ogando, who's thrown very well. He pitched in a minor league game today, 93-96, perfect inning. Carlos Torres, Alex Torres is in the mix from the left side. So there's been some good things, but we still aren't exactly where we want to be. There's Hector right there.
Yeah. And you got a couple of guys that I know factor in because of their situation. Winkler, who is still a Rule 5 guy, at least until is it June 1. And then Ramirez, who is out of options. So
yeah.
Those guys are still in the mix too, aren't they?
Right. Winkler has been really good. He's pitched 7 innings, 12 strikeouts, no walks. I mean, he's somebody we've really liked what we've seen out of him. And he's not the same guy we saw at the end of the year last year. He was kind of rushed up here just to get his feet wet last year. But he's been really good this spring. We see him up to 94. He has a weird angle that guys don't seem to really pick up too well. And that's why you see 12 strikeouts in 7 innings from him. So he's been really good. Just with Ramirez has been good early. Hasn't been quite as good the last couple outings. So, like during this last week, I think he's going to pitch 2 or 3 more times. We'll just kind of see how it goes with him.
He's got a big arm, right? Throws hard.
Big arm. He's 95, 98.
1 ball, 1 strike here to Travis d'Arnaud. I'm sure you would agree it's always better to have lots of choices and tough decisions than not. Line to short. He keeps hitting it to a brave shortstop.
I our position perfectly.
2 outs. So do you anticipate difficult decisions, John, for the 24th, 25th guy on this roster? I mean, it changes very quickly anyway, but...
Yeah, probably where we're going to run into it will be maybe the last bullpen spot or two, in terms of that lefty bullpen spot. Will be somebody from the camp right now? Will we go out and find a trade that makes sense? I mean, we've shown that we aren't afraid to make trades, obviously.
You sure have.
Yeah. And, then probably for, the 2 extra outfield spots, we've still got really 4 guys for 2 spots between Swisher, Bonifacio, Bourne, Francoeur. And they've all played well. They've all shown us things. So, I think we'll be in a good spot that we'll end up having 2 real good answers any way we slice it.
This is Wilmer Flores. He struck out on an inside breaking ball his first time up. Flores has looked good today. Looper over short. That'll drop in for the second Mets hit.
John, we were talking earlier. I mentioned the fact that the Mets got this close to a world championship, and they won 90 games in the regular season. They won the division by 7 games by winning 90. It's not like you've got to rip off 100 wins to have any chance of getting a world championship. So I guess what I'm saying is you can take heart in that you're not that far off.
No, you know what? I've been here for 10 years. I feel like we're more close to a World Series now than we've been at any point in the 10 years. Part of that's a function of the great young talent that we have. But I think you saw it. There wasn't anybody that really picked the Mets to be a World Series team last year, but they had a lot of good young talent that came up and really did a great job for them. I can think back to when we were 42 and 42. I think they were 43 and 42. So right. We were right there. They just finished much better than we did.
1 ball, no strikes. The count to Eric Campbell. That one's ripped to short. Tricky hop, and Ibar stayed with it. And forced to second, retires Flores, and ends the Mets inning.
I want 1 more half inning.
Sure.
Can you hang around?
Yeah.
Probably interrupting your lunch, but hang on.
Order in the home half of the fourth inning, and Ciarte, Ibar, and Freddie Freeman are coming up against Jacob deGrom. The Braves are looking for their first base runner on the day. Joe and I are joined again by John Campolella, the Braves general manager. And Campy, our first look at Ender Inciarte these last couple of days in Orlando. What made him such an attractive commodity for you to acquire?
He's been great for us this spring. He's in 366. He's just a really good baseball player. I think our fans are really going to warm up to this player. You know, like there isn't plus tools here, but he kind of does everything really well. Can really play center field. Last year he had 29 defensive run saves. Andrew Simmons had 24. So he plays center field that well. He also hit over 300. He stole 21 bags. He's a good winning player. He's smart. You know, he's just somebody that you want on your team that you can win with. And, you know, since we made the trade for him, I've talked to about 20 clubs, and we don't want to trade this player. I mean, he's here for the next 5 years at the very least, and he's a big part of our team, and we're very happy to have him.
One of the reasons I wanted you to come back for another half inning is because we didn't get a chance to talk about Ender and the deal with Ender.
He did. First hit of the day for the Braves.
With Ender and the other two players that came from the Diamondbacks, which leads me to some of the young guys, Swanson, Albies, Malik Smith. Talk about those guys and what your impressions were of them, because earlier today we asked Jason Grilli, and he said, you know, if these guys that are so highly talented, they came to camp and really carried themselves as professionals.
Yeah, it's been great seeing what they did on the field as well as what they did off the field. They really held themselves well. They aren't that far away. It's hard to send them out. I mean, it was something I couldn't wait until the fourth inning when, you know, they would end up in games because they would help us win. I can think back to a game here. We were actually playing the Mets last time they were playing here. We were down 5-4, ninth inning. Malik's had a leadoff double. Albies got him over to third. One out, runner on third. We're down a run. Dansby triple in the gap. And then he ended up scoring the winning run, and we won 6-5. So, I mean, you know, they bring a lot of talent. They bring a lot of energy, and they'll be a big part of our teams for years to come.
Time called by Ibar and granted by the home plate umpire.
We all know the trade of Andrelton Simmons was a difficult one. We all like watching him play, and I know that includes you. But part of the return was the guy at the plate, Eric Ibar, and this guy's a solid major league player, especially offensively.
He's a really good player, and we wouldn't have made the trade if he wasn't in it. We can't go through a year like we went through last year where, you know, we've got holes, whether it's in our pen, whether it's in our everyday lineup. He's a good winning player. He's somebody we're very, very happy to have. We've gotten calls on him from 5 or 6 teams. We don't want to trade him either. You know, he fits well. We haven't really had a great top of the lineup lately, and with Ender and with Eric, we feel like we do for the first time in a long time.
I would imagine that's something that's changed with your position with the Braves. I imagine your phone is ringing an awful lot more frequently nowadays than it was maybe a year ago with the way the farm system's being rebuilt.
Yeah. You know, one thing we've seen that's been great is that, you know, guys we've gotten in trade seem to have really great industry value. I mean, it's players that other teams want, and we don't want to trade from that talent pool right now. I think there will come a point in time when, you know, we're right there trying to, you know, like get to that World Series. If it's the right trade for the right player at the right time, sure. But, you know, we want to build something that's going to be long-lasting. What John Sherrill's built here, where the Braves won 14 straight titles, was something I don't think that we will ever see. But what was so great about when they won the 14 straight titles was that they always had a top-ranked farm system. They always had that great young source of impact talent. And, you know, if it was for, you know, those players that would help us out here, or if it were those that we would end up in a trade that, you know, they would help us get back a great player. He had that talent. I think when we reached the point at the end of 2014, we ranked the 29th farm system. And, you know, we had a team that finished 27-40 in the second half of the season with Jason Hayward, with Justin Upton, with Evan Gattis, with Craig Kimball. We knew we needed to make a change and make some really tough choices.
And the way the game is now, from an economic standpoint, from a talent standpoint, the team we saw yesterday, the Houston Astros, in 2 years went from 51 wins to the high 80s and made it to the playoffs last year. No one can predict that's going to happen for the Braves, but certainly the model is there, not just with the Astros, but the Cubs, the Royals, the Mets. I mean, there are teams that have done what the Braves have done, so that's got to give you hope as well.
Great at bat right there by Eric. Fouled off a real tough pitch with Inciarte running, and then 93 fastball up that's hard to catch up to against DeGrom, and he did just that for a base hit.
And this is what we hope to see a lot of. 2 guys on ahead of Freddie Freeman.
Certainly, you know, and I mean, part of what we want to end up doing is not end up like Astros, where they lost. They had 5 years where they lost 100 games. They had 3 years where they lost 110 plus games. We don't want to end up with that. We just can't have that happen with our fans, with a brand new park coming for the 2017 season. We felt like with all the trades we made last year, we wanted to kind of fast forward that process. We felt like we won't go through a 100 loss season, which is what, you know, all the teams you said, Chip, Astros, Cubs, Royals. I mean, you know, it took the Royals, they were in the 8th year under Data Moore, and they were getting ready to run him out of town. And then, you know, all their good young players got up there, and they saw that plan, and it all worked. So what we hope here is that it won't take 8 years, but that we have good young impact talent that can help us get back to a World Series. I mean, really, you know, just for us, the whole bottom line, and for our fans, is we haven't won a playoff series in 15 years. 15 years we haven't won a playoff series, and that's what we're trying to get back to. John Schuerholz, his first 9 years here, he went to 5 World Series. We're trying to build toward that again.
With that in mind, with not wanting to weather those kinds of storms you just talked about that the Astros had, how hard is it to avoid moving those guys that are on the cusp of being in the big leagues to this level and let them basically learn on the job so you're that much farther ahead next year, let's say? Is that a hard thing to fight?
Yes, it's hard knowing when is the right time. And we always think that players will end up letting us know. We have a great group in our front office. I'm very fortunate to have guys like John Schuerholz and John Hart that really know what they're doing, that have been through the same exact process, that have, you know, I mean, all these great years. John was a GM for 26 years. John Schuerholz was a GM for 26 years. John Hart was a GM for 18 years. And they've been really, really good, too. So I just, with them, you know, we've got a great farm system. We've got great scouts. We've got a really good front office. You know, but at the end of it, those, you know, just with those players will end up letting us know when's the right time.
Well, big-time problems for Mr. DeGrom here in the 4th inning. Back-to-back singles, and then the Freddie Freeman walk has the bases loaded for Adonis Garcia. This guy was quite a find last year, wasn't he?
He was a great find. He was somebody that we picked up at the end of spring training. Great work by our scouts, Gordon Blakely. Knew him, signed him over at the New York Yankees 2 or 3 years ago. And he was actually let go from their minor league camp. And we signed him for free, basically, and he did a great job filling in for us last year.
It's in a double play, but it brings home Inciarte with the team's first run, so it's 1-0 Atlanta. And Nick Markakis is the batter. We've raved about Nick and how much different he looks this year as opposed to last year.
Yeah, it's been something great to see. I mean, he really had no offseason last year. Still came in, hit .296. He was 4th in the league in hits. I mean, there was a lot of good things. He's a great player day in, day out, just a great winner.
Let's see what he can do with 2 outs. And a strike. 0-0. Romero is on deck. Braves have scored the game's first run here in the 4th. Visiting with John Capaletta, the Braves general manager. And a pop. Lagares will give way. And Biondi makes the grab for the 3rd and final out of the inning. Copy, you got us a run. Good job.
All right, guys.
Always
thank
a pleasure.
You. Yeah.
Thanks for all your help.
Chip,
Look forward to opening day.
Thank you, guys.
April 4th.
All right.
Time for the 5th inning. Braves up 1-0. But Norris back to work. He scattered a couple of hits. And Joe having a really impressive start today. Always want to see guys pitch well in the latter days of spring training, and he's doing exactly that.
He's been around enough at an age of 31. He's seen enough that he's not going to be that concerned about a couple of rough outings in spring training. But they were rough, and first inning rough. So today, to get through the first inning and kind of settle in, he's made good pitches.
Ground ball right side. That's going to sneak through. Mark Krause has a leadoff single. Third New York hit. And Travis Tyrone's going to come up. He struck out swinging his first time.
Love hearing Coppy's take on so many of these guys, and just off the top of his head how quickly he can quote stats and numbers, and 5 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no walks, about different guys. He's like a computer.
Well, there's no doubt he is all in with this plan. He's one of the architects of it, and off air, I mean, he was just beaming about what he has seen in camp. He said this club is light years ahead of where it was a year ago as far as the minor league system is concerned. And to go back to what I was alluding to earlier, as difficult as last year was, and let's be honest, we're going to have some rough patches this year too. To get where you want to go, you have to pay the price now and hope that it creates the ability to have long-term success down the road. And consistent, sustained success. That's really the big key.
Got to have a farm system.
1 ball, 1 strike for Travis Tyrone. Lives in El Cajon, California. He's 27. 25 home runs at Las Vegas last year with a .274 average. It was 4th best as far as the home runs were concerned in PCL.
That's a good breaking ball there.
He's had a couple of looks in at Manny Gonzalez. He's had a tight zone today.
Yeah. But definitely didn't like that one.
Now back, full count. Warm, muggy afternoon. Missed inside, so a single and a walk starts the 5th inning. First walk for Bud Norris. Opening day's almost here. Get your tickets now to see the Braves take on the Nationals Monday, April 4th. Experience the excitement of opening day with your Atlanta Braves. Get your tickets at Braves.com or call 800-745-3000. Guessing it'll be Max Scherzer for the Nationals. Nothing official for the Braves, but it looks like Julio Teheran will get the ball for Atlanta.
Yeah, Julio was smiling real big and not wanting to accept our invitation to be the opening day starter, but he's in line based on his work schedule to be the guy.
Matt Reynolds pops one into right field. Markakis on the run. Has no play. Nationals will be a different looking ball club. Doug Fister's gone. Matt Williams is gone. Dusty Baker is their new manager. And like the Mets, they have concerns about one of their corner infielders. That's the health of Ryan Zimmerman, who's been battling those plantar fasciitis problems for the last couple of years. You know all about the shoulder problems.
Ian Desmond's gone.
Ian Desmond is a big loss. He's an outfielder now.
Yeah. With the Rangers.
1 ball, 1 strike. 2 balls and a strike. That's fouled away. That's 2-2.
63 pitches so far for Bud here in the 4th inning with nobody, or 5th inning rather, with nobody out. But he's extending himself a little bit, stretching it out some, and maybe running a little bit low. He did go 4 2/3 his last time out.
Foul ball from Reynolds. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I'm excited about the rotation, Chip, just based on the feedback we're getting in the last week. Fultonevich. Anytime you mention Fultonevich, everybody smiles because A, he weathered the storm with his surgery. He's going to be okay. He's healthy. They're trying to be careful. That's understandable. But when he's lighting up the radar gun, again, 95 to 99, that's exciting stuff. That's like Syndergaard with the Mets. And then to have John Gant, the former Met minor leaguer, do what he did yesterday and get everybody's attention. Those are a couple of guys that nobody really was counting on or thinking about just 2 weeks ago.
Popped up right side. Freeman gives it a look. Luxury that the Braves have as far as the schedule is concerned, and there aren't many in the first couple of weeks. We talked about that yesterday, how difficult it is. Braves won't need a 5th starter until April 12th. I would assume that Gant is being stretched out in case Fultonevich isn't quite ready, because the Braves want to be careful with his return from injury too. So you have a plan A or B ready for that particular game on the schedule.
Still got Williams Andrews factoring in too.
Williams Perez.
Excuse me.
Right. Williams Perez. And Judas Chassin is going to pitch against the Nationals tomorrow. Norris didn't get another close pitch, and now the Mets have him loaded up.
Got away with one there. Well, the Braves had bases loaded, nobody out. And this guy DeGrom was able to get a double play. Maybe Bud Norris can get a double play too.
Bouncing ball, Freeman gloves it. Norris to the bag, and a run is in to tie it up. DeGrom put it in play. Krause scores to even the score. Tyrone to third, Reynolds to second, and DeGrom helps himself. So he drives home the tying run, moves the runners up, and now Lagares, the batter, is flat out twice. Mets really like their outfield alignment when healthy. They'll have Michael Conforto for a full season in the outfield. Mentioned Curtis Granderson. Cespedes in center. Lagares, their 4th outfielder, presumably. But they have to be a little concerned about Conforto. A young man has a sore back right now. Long bus ride got him tweaked back, swinging the bat.
I hear about young guys, young players with bad backs. It's just an awful thought that they had something they're going to have to deal with. What you expect to be the rest of their career doesn't easily go away. David Wright can tell you all about that.
The ball's 2 strikes. Must be a big man for Norris to get. Just high with the fastball. He's throwing hard, 93 on that one.
And he was throwing right around there when the game started.
He's over 70 pitches now. A long 5th inning. The inside edge, didn't get it. 2-2.
He's been hitting his spots. You know, if AJ sets up inside, that's where he delivers it. He may not be catching a corner. I thought he got robbed on a breaking ball earlier in the inning that was not called a strike. The check swing wasn't called strike 3.
A little number back toward the mound. Norris with a bare hand, and Tyrone beat the rap at the plate. Fielder's choice, RBI for Lagares, and the Mets take a 2-1 lead.
Only play that Bud had, really. Good call by Manny Gonzalez. A few years ago, you might have seen A.J. Przinsky blocking the plate, waiting for the toss. You can't do that anymore.
So for the first time this weekend, Braves fans can feel nauseous as they hear the Let's Go Mets chant start up again.
Mr. Mets not here. That's a break.
There you go. Patrick Biondi's the batter. New York has him first and third, and almost nearly picked off Lagares. A single, 2 walks, and 2 ground outs have plated a couple of runs. One try by Biondi. Biondi 5'9", 165. Played in Savannah the last couple of years. That's right there for a strike. It's 0-2.
94 on that fastball.
Here and around, Bud heated him up upstairs, and Biondi's the second out. And one more man to get. That's the catcher, Travis d'Arnaud. Eric, get ready.
Yeah. Good chance he's going to hit it to short. I met Travis's brother, Chase, yesterday. Chase is in camp with the Braves. I think he's also on the bench today as a backup player. There you go.
Told you. Hitting over. 2 runs. 1 hit, couple of walks, and a couple of ground outs. Puts New York in front for the first time. ATL goes to Washington to battle the rivals in D.C. on April 13th. You and 20 of your friends could win a catered party to watch the Braves and Hawks and an Atlanta Taco Mac. Round trip transport is provided on the Fox Sports Fan Express. Enter now on foxsportssouth.com/Taco Mac. Hector Olivera is going to lead things off for the Braves in the 5th. They're down a run as we look at today's Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard.
20 hits. Nolan Arenado, shocker, tied for the lead with 23. But for Hector, a lot of that because he's, as John Capolano said, he's been out there just about every day. A lot of at-bats to get a lot of work out in left field primarily.
Olivera struck out his first time up there. Found up and straight back. Steve Wright won.
We were talking a couple of days ago about Hector's tuck with his hip and shoulder, and then the wrap of the bat over the top of his head, which creates a longer swing.
That's in the air to right. Tyrone drifts back.
You can time it. No matter who's throwing, who's pitching, even a guy like DeGrom is throwing hard, but you got to start early. You got to start everything early, and when that happens, they are allowed to throw change-ups and off-speed pitches, and now you're way out on your front foot, and you're in between all the time. So the effort of Olivera and Kevin Seitzer is to shorten everything up, wait a little longer, and then let that big end of the bat do the talking.
A.J. Brzezinski takes a strike. Yeah, Kevin told me the other day they have a unique way of trying to help Olivera do that. There's a newfangled pitching machine in the cages. And I think Olivera stands 40 feet away from it, and they crank that baby up as fast as they can to almost force the muscle member to be quicker.
Yes. Some days they say it's good. Some days kind of not yet.
AJ's down on 3 pitches. DeGrom started the game, retiring the first 9 in order. He just racked up his 4th strikeout. 14 strikeouts, only 2 walks this entire spring for DeGrom.
He only walked 38 last year in 191 innings. 205 strikeouts. The thing that jumps out at me at his numbers, I mean, obviously the strikeouts, more than an inning pitched, per inning pitched. But he only gave up 149 hits in 191 innings. And when you don't walk anybody, you don't have anybody on base to speak of. 215 average against him for the year.
And it's almost a home game for him. He's from DeLand, Florida, which is just north of Orlando.
Chipper Jones country.
Well, he has not come out today and just tried to blow fastballs past people either. He's using all of his pitches very effectively. To second. Should. It will be easy. 3 up, 3 down. DeGrom protects a 1-run lead as we're off to inning number 6.
definitely want to be the starting second baseman for the Atlanta Braves, but definitely want to learn from these guys. These guys have been around the game longer than me. Anything that they have to say, I'm open. I want to learn. I want to work with them, see how they go about their day, see their routine, pick different things up of their game. To me, I still want to learn as much as I can. I don't know it all, not even close. So I definitely want to be the second baseman for the Atlanta Braves, but I definitely am going to learn from these guys for sure.
That's Jace Peterson, who's gotten the start today at second base, and that's not the only place he's played this spring. Braves have moved him all over the place.
I was teasing Kelly Johnson about their mass infield they take and how he should be exhausted by the time it's over because he's roaming from spot to spot. He said, you know, that's pretty much the case with all of us. We all are moving around trying to take ground balls at different spots. Jace, no exception.
I think this will be a bounce-back year for Jace Peterson, who played hurt most of last season, had a bad thumb issue that he says is 100% taken care of now.
Yeah, and we didn't know anything about that.
No.
He played through it, tried to play through it. His average suffered because of it, but never a complaint about it.
Wilmer Flores, Eric Campbell, Mark Krause, the first three scheduled for New York. Norris back out there for what we hope will be a brisk sixth inning. That's chopped foul, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Are you surprised these guys just let Ruben Tejada go?
A little bit. But after they signed Cabrera and they've got this guy as a backup, maybe perhaps shouldn't be that surprised.
Flores didn't get a high breaking ball. Got a little piece of it, but he is struck out. And that's 5 strikeouts for Bud Norris today. Braves fans become an A-list member and receive multiple ticket options and exclusive benefits customized for your unique needs. Call now to secure the best seats for the final season at Turner Field and the inaugural season at SunTrust Park. Don't miss out on being an A-list member today. Go to Braves.com or call 404-577-9100. Campbell's 0 for 2. Takes a strike.
3 good breaking balls in a row.
Just missed hitting Campbell. 2 balls and a strike. Braves had Campbell played perfectly. Peterson made the grab at second. Campbell's out on a line drive. 2 outs.
Bud Norris, 15-game winner 2 years ago with the Orioles, made a start in their playoff division series with the Detroit Tigers. Tigers were heavily favored, supposedly had the better pitching with Scherzer, Verlander, and Pfister, but this guy won one of those games, and the Orioles swept the Tigers. Norris was tough. 86 pitches right now.
Krause takes high, ball 1. He picked up a leadoff single and scored the New York team's first run an inning ago.
Standing by the cage today while the Braves are taking batting practice, I teased you and said, well, that guy out center field looks good. He's running down a lot of balls from light pole to light pole. Looks pretty good. He was wearing number 25, and yes, it was Andrew Jones and I was teasing him after the batting practice about how good he looked out there, and he was just getting my cardio in. That's all.
Well, it wasn't until a few weeks ago that Andrew hadn't officially retired.
Well,
So
I said, "Are you taking any batting practice?" And he goes, "Yeah, I sneak it in once in a while."
4 straight out of the zone, and Krause walks. 2 out, free pass. 3 of those on the day for Norris. They've all come in the last inning plus. And Tyrone will hit with a man aboard and 2 out. Well, National League East figures to be a real dogfight. You know, the Nationals with Dusty Baker are looking for a redemptive season. The Mets will try to defend the division title. Nobody's really saying an awful lot about the Marlins, but if Giancarlo Stanton's healthy, that's going to make a world of difference for them. Did you see the home run he hit the other day, by the way?
Did. Well, no, I didn't. I just
saw the highlight.
I knew where it went. Over that building.
Yeah. Into the ballpark in Jupiter. I believe it's the Marlins offices in the left center field part of the ballpark. He hit it over the building. Not just over the fence, but over the building. It'll be fascinating to see what influence Barry Bonds has on Giancarlo Stanton. Bonds, of course, the new hitting coach on Don Mattingly's staff. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Travis Tyrone.
Like to finish this off right here. Braves have activity in the bullpen ready to go. You'd like to finish this complete inning.
A mile high fly ball to right. Nick Markakis is there, and Bud Norris does complete 6 innings. He's given up a couple of runs. He's struck out 5. All in all, a very good day's work for the Braves right-hander. Fans, the Kroger 4-game plan is a great way to see your Braves during the historic final season at Turner Field. Save off the regular season game price and see the games you want with no restrictions. Custom build your 4-game plan or select a popular plan like the bobblehead, fireworks, or Sunday Kids Day plans by visiting Braves.com/4game. Michael Bourne's going to grab a bat. He'll hit for Bud Norris. Who pitched 6 innings of 2-run ball today. And ball and a strike for Michael Bourne.
I was talking about all these veterans that are available to Freddie Gonzalez from a position player standpoint. It was kind of verified in a way by John Coppolella talking about the outfield situation and 4 guys for 2 spots, all veteran players: Bourne, Swisher, Francoeur, and Bonifacio. And there's a couple of guys if they don't keep them, there are heavy-duty financial ramifications.
Golf to right, and that's down and past Tyrone, and Bourne on his way to third base. Bourne with a leadoff triple.
Teasing Michael today about how we were going to have some ceremony to try to get the voodoo off of his bat because of all the line drives he's been hitting at people, which is a carryover from last year. He thought that was pretty funny, but maybe something's happened already. That was just out of the reach of the right fielder.
Braves have been a triples hitting machine this spring. That's their 12th.
Really?
Triple as a team. Alex Smith has 3. Bourne with his 2nd. He represents the tying run. Here's Inciarte. Let's see if we can bring him home. Foul away, strike 1. Inciarte is singled and scored. So he's got a 1-for-2 day working. And that'll be deep enough to tie it up. Fly ball to center. Lagares drifts back. And Bourne can trot home. Braves have evened the score on a sac fly to center.
Good job by the leadoff hitter. He got a breaking ball up and away from him, and he didn't try to pull it. He went with it and hit it right on the button.
So we're tied at 2. And here's Ibar.
With all the rain shortened games we've had the last 2 days, extra innings would get some extra work in.
Good point.
Sorry, what was that?
You know what it was.
Seen that before.
Good time called, yeah. But that is, we joke about that, but for the Braves, it is kind of a problem. They still have decisions to make, need game action to complete their evaluations as to who's going to be on this roster right now. And there are still so many unanswered questions for Freddie and the staff. Braves and Nationals hook up tomorrow. Joe and I will have the game here Monday night, and we'll see Mike Foltynewicz pitch. So you want to stay tuned for that. Ibar's down on strikes. That's 5 for the Grom. Here's Freeman.
Slider, cutter. Normally 94, 95 gas. It's a pretty good combination for DeGrom.
Freddie was all over that pitch and lines it to first.
It was just 91. Again, that lack of velocity today for DeGrom still troubling, I'm sure, for the Mets.
And the Braves have tied it up on a Bourne triple and an Inciarte sac fly. Joe and Chip with you from Orlando. We're through 6 here at Champion Stadium. Changes for the Braves. Freddie Freeman's day is done. Joey Meneses is in at first. And Jim Johnson is on to pitch.
Jim started the year with the Braves last year. Went to the Dodgers. A deal that sent Alex Wood over there. Free agent. Braves re-signed him. He had some sports hernia surgery in the offseason, so he's been a little slow coming back from that. His outings have been a little hit or miss. The last 4 outings, he's gone every other outing by giving up runs. The most recent one, an inning with a hit and a walk, no runs.
He's fouled that off his foot. He's behind the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We talked to Jason Grilli earlier. We have not seen Arodys Vizcaíno pitch yet this spring in our TV assignments. And now we get a look at Jim Johnson. That's one thing that Freddie Gonzalez has talked a lot about this spring, is how he feels he has interchangeable parts and options to use in the 9th inning. He can go matchup. He can go hot hand. He can dictate closer based upon who needs rest or not. And Johnson a big part of those Braves plans late in the ball game. Not a generous strike zone today. Johnson thought that one was good enough. Didn't get the call. 2 balls, 2 strikes for Reynolds. Right back where it came from and up the middle.
I think everybody that was familiar with Braves baseball last year knows that, especially in the second half of the season, the Braves pitching really struggled. Their major league ranks near the bottom in those first 2 categories, 5th most in walks. The blown saves, that's the one I wanted to talk about on this graphic. That's 26, second most. But if you look back, there weren't that many in the 9th inning. You know, there might have been a half dozen. The rest of them were recorded as blown saves because some guys in the 7th and 8th inning were giving up leads. And that goes in the books as a blown save. Nice job by DeGrom there to move the runner up. So if you recall, man, that 7th inning last year, when Vizcaíno was the closer, Braves couldn't get to him.
Right.
They'd already blown the lead before they could get to him in the 9th. So the back end of the bullpen is so important, not just as the closer, but from the 7th and 8th inning guys, too.
And especially if you look at the way the Braves rotation could be formulated. You figure Julio Teheran's a guy that can consistently give you 7 innings or so. Matt Whistler's still a very young guy. Don't know if the Braves will pitch him carefully, and I don't want to say limit his innings, but certainly pay attention to that. Bud Norris, don't really have a great track record on him, obviously, as a Brave. And then Fultonevich potentially coming back from injury. Gant has not pitched above Double-A, I believe. And Julius Chassin, a veteran arm. So you're right. You're going to need a deep bullpen to start the season at the very least, and that's another reason why the Braves will carry 8 relief pitchers to start the season. A single and a sacrifice sets it up for Lagares, who's driven home a run today. Two balls, 1 strike. Looks like Kelly Johnson's checked in for the Braves at second base. Jace Peterson's playing shortstop. Told you they've moved him all over the place. And off the plate, 3-1 from Jim. That's a well hit to right. Markakis back turned toward the infield. Edge to the track, makes the grab. Reynolds had to scramble back to second. He tags up and moves to third on a deep fly out to right.
Good player, Lagares. John Campolella was talking about getting calls from different teams about Ibar or Inciarte. I bet you the Mets have gotten some calls on Lagares too if they're not going to play him a lot and are ready to move him.
So Patrick Biondi is the batter. He is 0 for 3. Go ahead run at third for New York. 2-2 score here in the 7th. Spread around the play, strike one. Mets also have a split squad affair tomorrow. They've got the Nationals. Steven Matz will pitch for New York at Port St. Lucie. Matz was a youngster that opened up a lot of eyes late in the season last year, but it's been a rough spring for him as well.
Yeah, he's been getting touched up. Brian Harvey got ripped the other day. But it is spring training. And they finish spring training by flying to Las Vegas, do the Mets, to play the Cubs for 2 games before they open the season in Kansas City.
Biondi swings and misses, and Johnson works around a leadoff single. 7th inning stretch. We made it to 1 in Orlando. Tied 2.
Is sponsored by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. And Landmark Automotive Group. Always the best deal. Always.
Home 7th coming up in Orlando. And opening day's almost here. The Braves and Nationals hook up on Monday, April 4th, 4 o'clock, first pitch. We hope you'll experience the excitement of opening day with the Atlanta Braves live at Turner Field, the final home opener. At the 10th this season. There's tickets, Braves.com, or call 800-745-3000. Browns back out there for a 7th inning. He has struck out 5. He's scattered 3 hits. Braves to tie it in the 6th on a Bourne triple and an Inciarte sac fly.
That's pretty impressive. His longest outing prior to today was 4 innings.
Campbell can't glove it. Long throw from short and a terrific play. Reynolds, Johnny on the spot, handled the deflection and threw a strike to first to get Garcia for the first out.
Was sort of slow developing too, but boy, what a nice arm from Reynolds. I didn't notice if Garcia had a hard time getting out of the box or not, but a good play by the Mets defense.
So the base is empty for Markakis. Nick 0 for 2. He's been 91 to 93. He's touched 94 once, I know for sure today. And I wonder if this is all part of DeGrom's plan. Why you want to get away from 97 if you can.
I don't know that I would change from deliberately change from what he was doing.
Popped up. Foul ground. There's no approach. Beyond got there. Markakis is the second out.
If we hadn't already been alerted that his velocity was down a little bit this spring, I don't think we would have thought much about it because we figured he's working on something else, because he's thrown a lot of breaking balls today. And whatever his pitch limit was, that's going to end it right there.
So the Mets fans will stand and cheer a fine performance from Jacob deGrom. 6 2/3 innings with 2 runs and 3 hits allowed. Marlins talking things over with Jacob deGrom, who made his way through 6 2/3 today, pitched very effectively. 5 strikeouts. deGrom, part of an embarrassment of riches for the Mets in rotation. Harvey, deGrom, Syndergaard, Matz, and Bartolo Colon for New York. Addison Reed takes over in relief. Reed came over from the Diamondbacks August 30th. And Nick Swisher bats with 2 outs and the bases empty.
Nick's had a decent spring, in 278. Braves make no secret about the fact that they've been trying to maybe find another spot for him. Nick's aware of that. He's also got a heavy price tag in salary. Addison Reed, when he came over from the Diamondbacks to the Mets, helped push them into the postseason. Man, was he good. 17 games. He had a 1.17 ERA.
Ball foul. Reed picked up a save with New York. It came against the Braves.
Big guy, 6'4", 230, throws across his body, hard to pick up.
2 balls, 2 strikes for Nick Swisher. He's worked at full 3-2. Shot the other way, and Biondi with a fine running catch.
Good swing, too, from Nick.
Retires the side. 3 up, 3 down. We're headed to the 8th. ATL goes to Washington to battle their rivals in D.C. on April 13th. You and 20 of your friends could win a catered party to watch the Braves and Hawks at an Atlanta Taco Mac. Round-trip transport is provided on the Fox Sports Fan Express. Enter now on foxsportssouth.com/Taco Mac. Joe and Chip with you in Orlando. Another one of the names still in the hunt for a bullpen spot is Jose Ramirez.
With the Yankees and the Mariners, Braves got him from Seattle. He is out of options, meaning if he does not make the ball club, he will be subjected to waivers, or another team could claim him.
No, it's a 94-mile-an-hour fastball into right center field and is out on 1 pitch.
He's the guy that Capolello was saying, John Capolello was saying, has a big arm. He does throw hard, mid to upper 90s, but has a little control problem, has some control problems at times, but he can bring it.
Wilmer Flores bats. He's 1 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. One ball, no strikes.
Yeah, and one of the things I really dislike about young pitchers who can see the radar gun on the scoreboard is to throw a pitch and immediately look out to see how hard I throw that one. Well, that is all consuming as opposed to location or just making a good pitch.
That's a snap to it. Flores was bailing out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Wilmer out in front of that one. It was up.
Yes, it was. Change up, I think. Ramirez is listed at 6'1", 155.
Filthy slider takes care of Flores.
Dropped down a little bit on it too.
How heavy is he?
It says 155. I don't buy that.
I want his scale.
Yes.
As Campbell stands in with 2 outs. Campbell's 0 for 3. Dancing around for Ramirez.
Back-to-back changeups called by A.J. Pierzynski. Nice. Making him pitch a little bit.
Ball, 2 strikes. A shot to right. And that will retire New York in order. Impressive inning from Jose Ramirez. 3 up, 3 down. Still tied 2 apiece. Don't forget the home opener April 4th. It's opening day. We'll have it for you right here on Fox Sports Southeast. Freddie Freeman and the Braves take on reigning MVP Bryce Harper and the Washington Nationals. Opening day action kicks off from Turner Field with a special edition of Braves Live starting at 2 Eastern. Monday, April 4th, only on Fox Sports Southeast and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. This is Hansel Robles. He becomes the next New York pitcher. The third of the day, Jacob deGrom went 6 2/3. Addison Reed a third of an inning, and now Robles gets a turn. He's the first of a bevy of changes for the Mets. We'll give those to you in a moment as A.J. Pierzynski gets set to hit.
Robles last year 57 games for the Mets after he was called up from Vegas. 4-3, a 3.67 ERA. Better than a strikeout per inning pitched.
Derek Gibson is the new New York third baseman. And Johnny Monell is behind the plate.
Johnny Mo.
Base hit to right for A.J. And the ball gets by, and Przinsky's on his way to second. Thank you very much. It'll be a hit and an error.
That was just a bad boot out in right field. Pinch runner now for A.J., who didn't want a pinch runner, but it's like Bonifacio's coming in for him. You see, for A.J., crowding the plate, Chipper was talking about him in the batting cage the other day about how he said A.J. knows who he is. He knows what he can handle. And at his age, you're not going to change anything. You're not going to make any suggestions to him to do anything different. He stands right on top of the plate, open stance, and tries to yank everything. And if you make a mistake, middle in, he's going to hit it hard, just like he did right there.
Chase Peterson, see what he does with some situational hitting here. See if he can get Bonifacio over to third base. Nobody out in a tie game late. Bunt. Foul.
Jimmy, you would have laid it down right.
Pickoff play, and it's thrown to center field. Bonifacio scrambles to his feet, and he's 90 feet away. A couple of Mets errors have opened the door for the Braves to take an 8th inning lead.
Boy, managers hate this. Terry Collins will be chewing nails over there outside the dugout after the right fielder boots a ball, then the pitcher on a pickoff play that they practice all the time throws it away.
Now Collins aligning his infield defense. They come in for Peterson, who's down a strike. Down low, even count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Early in the season last year, this was an area where the Braves excelled. Runner at third, less than 2 outs. They got that man in more often than not. Let's see if this is deep enough. There's the catch. Bonifacio's coming home. The ball bounces behind the mound. It's a sac fly, and Atlanta leads. So a leadoff hit, a couple of errors, and a sacrifice fly. The Braves lead 3-2.
I don't know how many times you and I have talked about how important that is, especially for this ball club, to take advantage of opportunities late in the game to get a run in, not let it go by the wayside. Well done there by Jace.
Michael Bourne scored the game-tying run with a leadoff triple back in the 6th. Almost got hit. 1 ball, no strikes. Missed outside. 3 balls and a strike for Michael. Oh, he had a good cut.
Sure did.
So now the count's full. Slashed out of play, still 3-2. It's former Met Carlos Torres who's up in the Braves bullpen. Look at the ball in the 9th inning. Again out of play. Kind of glad to see Torres wearing a Braves uniform because every time he pitched against Atlanta, he looked like Cy Young, Sandy Koufax, and Nolan Ryan all put together.
And it was anywhere from an inning and 2/3 to 2 1/3 to 2 2/3. It was really good long relief.
Good at bat for Michael Bourne. Fought off a couple of tough pitches and coaxes a 1-out walk.
And you know who was rooting him on? Kelly Johnson. Because if this game ends in the top of the ninth, that means Kelly didn't get an at-bat. He wanted an at-bat against his team that he was on the last part of the season and in the World Series with.
Kelly Johnson, Juan Uribe played such big roles for the Mets. They're scrambling for offense. They paid immediate dividends along with Cespedes. Ground ball through right side. Kelly's got a hit. Going with the turnaround second. He's on his way to third. And the Braves have him at the corners with 1 out.
Fastball. How many times have we told you Kelly's one of the better fastball hitters in the National League, and yanked that one through the hole where the runner was being held on. Keeps the inning going.
Joey Meneses will be the next hitter for Atlanta. See if he can put it in play and add an insurance run for Torres. 3-2 Braves lead it. 4 out of play.
Oh, shit.
Kelly's running. The pitch a strike. Throw to second is in front of the bag. So Kelly Johnson steals second. Now a hit to plate 2.
Monell looked like he was not sure he was going to throw that ball. Didn't get much on it.
Fielding for the Metropolitans, but 2 strikes. Bourne walked with 1 out. Kelly Johnson singled and stole second. Cut fouled away. These have to be heart-pounding moments for guys like Joey, getting a chance to play in a big league game late in spring training, late in the ball game.
Yeah, you get asked to come over from the minor league camp just to back up. You get in there, now all of a sudden you're in a spot where you could really help the club out, help add to their lead. It's a good day.
Just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jeff Francoeurs grabbed a bat. He's on deck. corner. Joey not sure about that. It's been a tight zone all day, and then bang. He's rung up for the second out.
I was just watching the way the catcher caught the ball. He might have helped his pitcher out, but it looked like he was having to reach across the plate outside to get it. Yeah, it was borderline at best.
So with 2 outs, Jeff Francoeur hits. Those were Jeff's numbers with the Phillies. So far this spring, Jeff at 293. A homer, 3 RBIs.
If he makes the club, he'll find himself in a lot of these spots right here late in the game.
That's high. 2 balls and a strike. Jeff's done a nice job of putting the ball in play this spring. 41 at bats. He's only struck out 6 times. Had him off stride. He pops this one up. Will retire the side. The Braves got a leadoff hit from A.J. Brzezinski. A couple of Mets errors and a sac fly. Puts Atlanta in front as we go to the 9th. Today's Xfinity high-speed action. That high-speed action came in the Atlanta 6th.
A triple off the bat of Michael Bourne, his first at bat of the day. Followed by a deep fly ball by Ender Inciarte to plate him. And put the Braves into a tie at 2-2. They've taken the lead and now need 3 outs from Carlos Torres, who was a Met, was given his release. He's only had 1 rough outing so far this spring out of 5. A lot of games last year with New York.
And Mark Krause will greet him leading off the 9th. Torres, a quick strike. Krause has reached twice, scored once. Ball 1, strike 1.
Last time out, Torres against the Pirates. 1 inning, struck out the side. Actually, an inning and a third.
over the top, but is still alive at 1-2. But Norris started today for the Braves. Needed a good start. Provided a good start. He went 6, gave up 2 runs, 3 walks. Those came over his last 2 innings of work. And 5 strikeouts. Torres will have the first down of the 9th inning on an easy ground ball to second. 1 down. MLB.TV Premium, everything you've come to expect and more with a new low price for 2016. Watch every out-of-market game of all 30 teams live in true HD and over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Base is empty for Tyrone. He's walked and scored today. Our crew has Easter Sunday off tomorrow. We'll join you for the game Monday night, 6:05 Eastern Time. The Astros will be back from Mexico City, and they'll run into their former prospect, Mike Fultonevich. We'll get our first look at Mike. He will pitch against an Astros starter yet to be named.
I urge you to tune in and watch that. Fult's airing it out.
Two balls, 1 strike.
No walks, not in the 9th inning. Well, he did.
With 1 out. Gavin Cecchini is going to pinch hit. John Mora is going to pinch run at first.
Torres can get a ground ball here. A good cutter there.
Man in the box, a #1 pick by the Mets back in 2012. 12th overall was Mr. Baseball in Louisiana. Last year at Binghamton, Double-A, hit .317, 7 homers, 51 RBIs. A .377 on base.
Wow.
Second with the Double-A club in Binghamton. And second in the Eastern League for Binghamton with that .317 average. Picked off, the ball got away.
Sure did.
Two quick strikes for Cecchini. Brian Lavarnway, by the way, is behind the plate for the Bravos. lead at first by Mora. Now the 2-2. He started then stopped. Cicchini fouled away.
It's kind of funny how it works sometimes. And I know it from a hitter's standpoint. When you're facing guys that you know or that you played with, you'd much rather face somebody you don't know. And the same might be true here for a guy like Torres, who knows this Mets team so well. He may be giving them a little too much respect by nibbling too much.
Runner goes. Pitch a ball. One-ways throw off the glove of Jace Peterson into center field. And the Mets have the tying run 90 feet away with one out.
Short throw by Lavarnway. And Jace couldn't knock it down. Got a pretty good pitch to throw on, too. Infield will come in.
Full count pitch for Gavin Cicchini. Popped up. That's headed for the seats. Just in case you wondered, both the Braves and Mets have played to 3 ties this spring. Ball 4. Good at bat by Cicchini. And the 9th inning walks causing Carlos Torres big problems. Second in a row. And now Johnny Monell, the catcher, digs in.
We're going to assume that Monell has catcher speed, and maybe Torres can get a ground ball and get a double play ball.
There's the ground ball. There's one. The throw short hops at first. And Monell able to leg it out. 2 long throws. And the game's tied 3 apiece.
It was a slowly hit ball, broken bat ground ball that looked like Kelly had just an inch of problem getting it out of his glove. And that prevented Peterson from being able to come across the bag with any momentum. And then the throw was to the third base side of the bag, too.
So the Mets have tied it up with 2 walks, a stolen base, a throwing error, and a broken bat ground ball. And Kyle Johnson's the New York hitter. Runner goes. Pitch a ball. Throw to second, a strike, but late.
I'd say that catcher runs okay.
Yep.
Torres has really been up in the zone a lot, too.
Monell's got a big lead out there at second base, by the way. Became the 38th player born in New York City to play for the Mets. Born in the Bronx.
What a great sporting goods store, right?
Right by the team hotel. If you ever run short, you got a short trip. Got to go to Moe's. 3 balls and a strike. Three walks in the inning. And Patrick Biondi, another chance to hit. Torres has had success climbing the ladder with this kid. Let's see if Torres can do that.
Well, Torres has been at the top of the ladder this whole inning.
High strike.
Nobody's been throwing in the Atlanta bullpen, but that's about to get busy.
Jason Hirsch is up to throw. Ground ball right side. Race to the bag, and that'll take care of New York. But they tie it up. 3 walks, a throwing error, and a broken bat ground ball. Chance to win it in the bottom of the ninth. Lost the winning run here in the bottom of the 9th inning. That guy's in midseason form. He's ready to go. And so is Zach Thornton. He's on the pitch for the Mets. Three runs, 5 hits for New York. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Braves. Jonas Garcia will get things started.
Bad outing this late in the spring for Carlos Torres. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, 3 walks. Really hurt. So Thornton turns it loose and walks across a quick strike. Remember Ike Davis?
Yes.
When they traded him to the Pirates, Zach Thornton's the man that came back in that deal. He has been born and bred a relief pitcher. In his professional career, he has started 1 game in 266 minor league appearances.
What a long, wild arm action. Hides the ball nicely as he throws across his body. Pretty funky.
6'3", 220. Went 4-4 at Las Vegas last year. And Garcia checked to swing. To short. Garcia is out. Short hop. Play at first base. Somehow the ball found the glove.
Mark Krause was ducking and diving out of the way. I think that's Cicchini at shortstop and cut it loose, but Krause wasn't sure he wanted any part of it.
This is K.D. Kang for the Braves. And ball one. Before this half inning started, Freddie Gonzalez and Terry Collins met behind home plate to talk about if this game remains tied. I'm sure how much further to carry it. And for the Braves, we've had horrible rain the last couple of days here in Orlando and over in Lakeland, where the Braves tried to play a split squad game yesterday. So an extra inning or two, I'm sure, wouldn't bother Freddie. I'm not so sure about Terry Collins. They have to make the long drive back to Port St. Lucie afterward. So we'll see.
There is someone throwing in the Atlanta bullpen, but not too many bodies left down there in the Mets bullpen. Oh, there's some guys with shin guards on.
Two and two. In the air to center, well hit, but 2 out. Swisher will get a second at bat. That man throwing in the Braves bullpen is Jason Hirsch. So Swisher, then Lavarnway. But there are 2 outs in the 9th. To center. And for the first time this year, we've got free baseball. 3-3 is your score. We head to the 10th. Fans, baseball's back and FS1 starts the year Thursday, April 7th. Prince Fielder and the Rangers take on Mike Trout and the Angels. It's all on America's home for baseball all season long. FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. A little confusion in between innings. Manny Gonzalez made his way to the Atlanta dugout after that final out was recorded and kind of gave the end of game signal to the press box, but apparently the Braves had other ideas, so we're going to play another inning here.
And Jason Hirsch, who was the first pick of the Braves in the draft just a few years ago, will get his first action in spring training. Very nice to see him work.
We'll face Derek Gibson to lead things off. 3-3 game after 9. Nothing wrong with 95. And Hirsch pops the glove for a called strike. With some sink. Two balls, 2 strikes. Little tapper. Jefferson's got it. And a perfect flip to first. This is Jeff McNeil. Headed for the Mets bullpen. Out of play, a strike. McNeil's an infielder. Was a postseason All-Star for the Florida State League. Hit .312 at St. Lucie last year. Stole 16 bases. 12th round pick 3 years ago. Little pop to short. And Jace Peterson has that. 2 out.
More 95 right in on his thumbs.
Now Dominic Smith. Smith of L.A. First round pick in 2013 for New York. He goes the other way with a base hit. The Florida State League's player of the year was 79 RBIs, 33 doubles, hit .305, 6 homers.
Well, he just came off the bench and got a base hit on a 96 heater, so he must have some pretty good hands and a very good hitter. Inside ball 1. Starting to cloud up at the old ballpark. Thankfully, those clouds don't look like we're casting for the movie Independence Day. High fly ball to right. Headed for the corner. Will the Park hold it? He will not. But it's foul ball. That sounded like you got somebody's car. Staff parking out there beyond the bullpen.
Pretty impressive. Backed it up. And Cross fouled it away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jason Hirsch threw mid-90s fastballs and then 3 gorgeous changeups in a row to send us to the bottom of the 10th. Get ready for the NFL draft with the panel as top prospects are on the hot seat with former NFL stars to see if they're ready for the big time. With back-to-back episodes featuring Ezekiel Elliott from Ohio State, Keith Marshall from Georgia, and Jalen Ramsey from Florida State. It's the panel premiering Sunday at 9 Eastern only on Fox Sports South and presented by Chevrolet. This is Eric Goodell for the Mets. And I have the bottom part of the Braves order coming up.
Saw his brother yesterday
with Houston. Tyler Goodell. This is Eric. And he'll start things off with Ryan Lavarnway. Goodell at Ice Story, a 24th round pick. Lives in Hillsborough, California. And went to UCLA. Last year, 35 games with the Mets, 34 strikeouts and 33 in the 3rd innings. Hits it a mile toward right center, but that's going to be Predator. And goes out number 1. Chase Peterson has an RBI. That came on a sac fly in the 8th. Nobody up in either bullpen. If the Braves don't win it, that'll be the end of the ball game, it would appear. Downstairs, 1 ball, no strikes.
know, I just had a premonition that he might try to bunt his way on because he kind of took a practice swing and looked behind him to see if Michael Bourne was on deck. Like, if I can get on and maybe swipe a base, maybe, or hit and run, we might be able to do something.
Down the left field line. 2 out. So it's up to Michael Bourne if the Braves were to avoid a tie.
But it's the 10th inning in spring training, and I get a lot of premonitions.
At least there's been no rain delay.
Some are good. Some are haunting.
Well, we had, let's see, we had the rain delay 2 days ago. Braves were being no hit for a while yesterday before the rains came. Now extra innings in our third broadcast.
Let's face it, everybody was lucky to get out of here yesterday. It's a good thing Jason rang up the strikeout when he did.
One ball, 1 strike as we approach 4 o'clock. Julius Chassin and Gio Gonzalez over in Vieira tomorrow. Back at it here Monday night. Have a safe and happy Easter. And then we're back with you Monday night.
Are you a chocolate bunny guy at Easter, or are you Peeps, or?
Look at me, of course I am. I mean, if ever there was a loaded question, that would be it. Yeah, I am. How about you?
You bet.
Yep. There's nothing worse, though, as a kid.
No hard-boiled eggs like that.
Yes, that's not good. There's nothing worse as a kid. Sound like my grandfather with the Cracker Jacks. You wait around all year for the Easter Bunny, and you find out it's not one of the solid ones, but the hollow ones. You took that first bite. There ought to be an investigation. Three and 2. Line drive. That's headed for the gap. Big turn by Michael. He'll slam on the brakes, and the Braves aren't done yet in the 10th. Good for Michael Bourne.
Yeah. Single, a triple, and a walk, and he didn't even start the game. Might add a stolen base to the total right here, too.
Kelly Johnson pulled a single through the right side in a single at bat. And that's off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. I'll be very interested to see what kind of reception Kelly gets when the Braves go to New York for the first time this year. I think it'd be a very, very warm one. With what he was able to do with the Mets last year.
What would be really cool is, I'm not sure when the Mets are going to have their ring ceremony for their National League Championship, but to wait and give him his when he gets there.
Yeah, the Mets home opener is Friday the 8th against the Phillies. We will see the Mets in Atlanta April 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Our first trip to New York is May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Balls at a strike. Norris and DeGrom started for their respective clubs. Both pitched very effectively. And now Kelly, a touchy pitch coming.
to hit there.
Just out of reach. Gibson gave it a good try.
Ran it in on him a little bit. Tied him up some. Make a mistake down and in.
3-2. So now it gets a little more interesting. Michael Bourne will be off with the pitch. If Kelly could split the gap in right center, Michael might be able to score from first. There he goes. Kelly sprays it the other way, foul. Again, the 3-2 pitch. Just missed. A 2-out walk. Winning run in scoring position with 2 down. And Braves still alive here in the 10th. Johnny Meneses. He's the man that struck out on that questionable 8th inning pitch.
It's the 9th walk for Kelly already this spring in 13 games. His on-base percentage was already .389. And he's had a hit and a walk today.
Having some 2-out trouble. That's a good pitch.
Yeah, he's a little tardy on it. A good hitter's pitch.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And a swing and a miss. Braves strand a pair in the 10th inning. And that's going to be the end of the ball game. Atlanta and New York finish in a 3-3 tie, the 4th tie for each club so far this spring.